Well, the band played two-step, and it took me 2 takes to get a solid internet connection. Hopefully this time the Wi-Fi checks out and holds through. We'll talk about this show from two-step to the last stop, as we are done with shows until after the 4th of July. The D&B post-show stream starts now. The winter concert scene in Indy is bleak, but in peak summer, a number of major tours carry on. This year saw Mumford & Sons Babylon, and usually in late June, the tunes of D&B take over Indy. The lawn is full 45 minutes before the show. The sun doesn't let go until around 9:20. The pit isn't the only place the fun goes down, as the lawn has the best sound from speakers of any shed in the country. At the crossroads of America, the D&B fan base comes together for 2 nights, watching this band take its tour to new heights. This is the Midwest. This is Noblesville. This is D&B tailgating at its best. This is Deer Creek.
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was
up to Northwest Indiana. It's 2 lanes. You get stuck behind those slow trucks. Shout out to the roundabouts in Carmel, Indiana. Thoughts and prayers to those Colts fans, man. Y'all thought y'all had it last year, but no. Bloomington is a football school. The Hoosiers, national title champions. Congrats. Your basketball's still trash, though. What happened? Oops, it looks like it's dropping down a little bit, but hopefully, oh no. It looks like we're going down in the earlier round, but hopefully it's a little better for you guys for this stream. So let's talk about, I think, first and foremost, let's start with this. This band, when they play Deer Creek, the most of the crowd walks away happy. Regardless of what you thought back at home, if you were watching the Volta stream like I was, the fan base at the show walks back happy, and it has more to do with the experience than the actual set list. But I do want to take a look at this set and look at one from 2012. I just picked a random year. I didn't even know what it looked like. That's why I did this, because I think a certain deep cut loving fan that travels across the country hoping to just get a couple of, just get a run of songs or to get something really special. They appreciate the 2-step. They appreciate the last stop. But I think there was a large gap in this show that maybe they didn't like as much. And so they were like, "Ooh, is this worth traveling to in the future?" There was nothing FOMO about this show. If you're a veteran fan who's been and seen a lot of different unique songs, or seen a lot, been to 40, 50, 60 shows, perhaps this weekend gave you a couple of gems you've seen, but there was nothing like, "Oh man, I wish I was at Deer Creek." But for newer fans on the flip side, this was a weekend where if you were there, you're like, "I got so many special things I never got before." And if you weren't there and you're a newer fan or a fan that hasn't seen as much as far as unique shows, you're like, dang, I wish I was at Deer Creek. So I think this whole weekend, there's a split in the fan base. Most of the fans thought this was a great weekend, but there's a 10%, a 5% of fans who said, I went, I enjoyed it, but I wish there was a little more, or I didn't go and I have no regrets about not going. And that's okay. So let's look at this set and let's look at some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and also let's talk about threats. We'll do a SWOT analysis here for this set, and then we'll get over to our guest. So the strength of this set is they played songs like Two Step for the first time in the tour. And they had an E1 in Good Time that was like, oh, I didn't expect that. Like, you hope for it, but you're like, is this really happening? Those were two of the biggest oh snap moments. Looking at fans online that have been to a lot of shows and seen a lot, to just get Two Step debuting as an opener and then Good Time in the E1. Amongst the other thing here, Shotgun was played for the first time since 2009. That's the strength of this set. The weakness of this set was everything after One Sweet World and before you got to, I would say, Shotgun. That stretch of songs for people who are looking for something, like if they just had one or two other like really special rarities, or they brought a Snow Outside, Broken Things, Kit Kat Jam type song that was earlier in the tour, beloved, because like, oh, these are finally back. If you brought Cha Cha, those type of songs, swap them out for Dream Girl, Hello Again, or Black and Bluebird, or Gravedigger, Do You Remember, Proudest Monkey and a Satellite. If any of those was swapped out with some of the stuff from the beginning of the tour that was like, oh snap, they're really playing these songs again, they're really playing Cha Cha outside of the East Coast. If they would have swapped those out, that's a weakness for the fans who are chasing certain special moments. I think that's the biggest miss of Deer Creek for this year, is the early part of the tour. Now they do put certain songs away, but I think people wanted Snow Outside to stay. People wanted Broken Things to stay. People wanted Kit Kat Jam and Cha Cha to be there. Straight Shot, maybe not as much, but it would have been cool to bring it to Deer Creek. Any of those songs, none of those songs were played. All right, so we did strength, weaknesses, opportunities. Let's talk about opportunities, okay? So we talked about the weaknesses. There's an opportunity for this band to really just you don't have to have tour debuts like Hello Again. Last Night, Can't Stop. They are expanding the catalog, but I think some of the stuff that they're tour debuting, someone's going to like it. A fan is going to like it, but it's like, did we need that song back? Right? Opportunities. And then if we look at threats, right? I think the biggest threat for this band is having some jams or post-lyric songs that just need a big makeover. And Crush is a perfect example of this. Now, Ashland Parker was on trumpet. I think that he actually gave the jam a little bit of a unique improv, because they were reacting off of what he was doing. Rashawn was reacting off of him. I typically don't like that loud, higher register trumpet, but I thought that Rashawn actually was more like, he had more creativity. He had got inspired from Ashland on Crush, because he's doing something. Rashawn's picking it up. Ashland is playing on the ones and the ones and threes, and then Tim's playing on the twos and fours, and they're both playing on the ones and threes. And so they were doing different things creatively off of Ashland. Right. But I do think a song like Crush could use a makeover. I do think other songs on this tour, like 41, again, just add a sax solo. I thought Jeff Coffin. I think the saddest thing about this, another thread is losing like the skills of Jeff Coffin being highlighted. There wasn't really much that Jeff could really show. Like, yo, there was no You Never Know. There was no Stone. There was no, like, there was nothing there that you could say, oh, Jeff really cooked. Now, he played in certain parts. He did have some parts. But I really wish there was more of Jeff Coffin like place. That's a threat. Like, you losing, I think they underutilized Jeff in times. And a show like tonight, not having a Stone, not having a Fool to Think, that was a huge, like, that's gonna derail the tour. Not derail the tour, but just kind of make it less like those last minute purchases, all that stuff. If you're not having that, like some of those songs in like Fool to Think and Stone and, you know, Dreaming Tree Still Waiting on the back burner, No Spoon, like not having that stuff out still is you know, that people are waiting. All right, without further ado though, let's get to our guest, Jackson, who was there. We will bring him on the stream. Let me just unmute him and then we'll. Oh, and actually we have, let me set up as well. It looks like we have Brady as well. So I'm going to get him set up. Podcasts, or they have stuff like I do. There's some fans that don't have any of that, but they're just lifelong fans. There's fans that are newer, fans that are older. And it's a great group. And so we give our fan feedback. So Volta is aware of a lot of the issues. We did pass along different things. Many of us as fans were sharing threads and feedback. So there were some issues tonight. At the end of the day, Volta has the contract for the own members of the band and Corin since the early 90s. And so that connection has helped them to be more comfortable to have more live streams. And so at the end of the day, you know, the hope is that we can, and let me know in the chat if it's some reason it seems like it's choppy. All right. Just, you guys won't be able to hear this, but I'll be able to hear this. Brady, if you can just try to say something, Brady.
Marcus, how you doing?
All right. Perfect. We got you.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to bring on Brady and Jackson here to the D&B post show stream. First, let's start off with Jackson. We had you on last night. What did you think about night 2 here in Deer Creek?
I thought night 2 was good, and I thought the set list was better tonight than last night. But obviously, the moments of Halloween and JTR last night were bigger moments than anything tonight. But I think the set list, like I mentioned, itself was better, and the crowd seemed more into it tonight. But it could have been because it's better songs, which could have had a part to do with it. But definitely was more people there. I was like talking to some people that are like locals and been in Deer Creek a lot, and they said that on Saturdays that they oversell the venue, so there's a lot of people, and it's definitely shown tonight. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, and that lawn, if you've never been to Deer Creek, that lawn is full 40 minutes before the show. It fills up. Most shows, the lawn doesn't always fill in, except SPAC. SPAC just has a small lawn, but most lawns, people come in right as the band is on stage to fill it up. But Deer Creek, they are early. People wait in line just to get a good spot, and so you got to get there early. You got to line up early if you want a good lawn spot. Brady, what did you think of tonight's show?
I really enjoyed it. The 2-step opener was pretty extravagant. My dad, who just passed away this February, that was, of course, his favorite song, so that was nice to get that for him, I guess. And yeah, most mellow of the 4.
Okay, good to know, because I know that I was wondering if someone was, and again, I'm not there, but there was someone on, in the comments on the Volta stream saying, oh, maybe it's, it's a humid day here in the Midwest. So I didn't know maybe if that played an impact on even the band cooling it off. But I guess if it was the best of the last 4 years, and maybe it wasn't as big of a factor for tonight. Jackson, you mentioned that tonight's set was better than last night. What parts, like we obviously know two step, last stop, shotgun. Those are like the three rarities that are there. What other things?
You know, don't mind traveling to go see that song. So it was nice seeing that one. And then up until Don't Drink the Water was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, and so you have a deep cut and shotgun, Crush, which is a fan favorite, regardless of what anyone thinks of it. Then You Might Die Trying. Dave accidentally tries to play it on the drop D guitar.
And then the Wrigley version, he no capo, standard tuning. So I heard him, first kind of, fiddling around around the C, and as soon as he hit that little bum ba bum ba bum, I looked over at my wife and said, "Oh my goodness, that's good time. Let's go."
Yeah, and it's interesting. Last weekend we have Shotgun played a full step down, which he had never done. Like you had mentioned, good time. He's had been recently using that capo on the third, and you kind of know, hey, if it's either that or another song with the capo. But instead he does it in just regular standard tuning there. So just another weekend where we get kind of you couldn't predict it until he literally started the riff, which I think is a bonus to the encore one spot to have these songs where he's trying different things. What was the loudest crowd pop of the night for tonight?
See, loudest crowd pop of the night. Definitely Two Step opener. I mean, last year at SPAC, I went there too, and when they went into P and to Two Step, that was the loudest thing I've heard at a concert. I do think it was a louder crowd pop. I'm sorry, at SPAC last year, but it was still loud. Today, whenever they did it, because I know a lot of people were wanting to hear that song, and they opened with it, so that was pretty neat. But yeah, definitely Two Step.
All right. What about you, Brady? What was the loudest crowd pop that you heard for the night?
Probably the two-step opener. Of course, like you're talking about the Crush sing along, as we all do. Don't Drink the Water at the end. And now for me, of course, Last Stop came on, and I went bananas, which I heard it last year too, but, that's one I'll always take. I'll say there was a lady next to me. I was explaining to her that as I'm a guitar player myself, and when I see the certain guitars he brings out, I could call the song, and she thought I was a wizard or something. Anyway.
Yeah. And tonight, this whole tour, two Last Stops, both of them have been played on the Sunburst 12 string. Typically, it's a half step down on like the walnut color 12 string. So that's another song where it's like this year he's kind of mixing it up. And I believe it's my best guess is that it's the backup 12 string, because I've seen him break his standard tune 12 string and then Craig brings another one, but they have that tune to half step down for this entire tour. I don't know what happened to the walnut one. Maybe it's getting repairs. Maybe they're just deciding to use this Sunburst one, but it's kind of a little bit of a change this year for Last Stop, because it could be Gray Street for all we know. You don't know what it's tuned like when Craig hands it to him. So just a little bit of a different setup for that song. And Brady, I just want to give you space because we couldn't get you on last night. I missed your message, but I saw it this morning. Did any comments on last night? Kind of a split crowd. People who were there loved it. People who were at home, some of them were like confused. Some of them did like it. Any thoughts on last night's set?
Well, somewhat similar to tonight, with the JTR Open, you could just feel the place filling up, the energy filling up, and then they hit. And of course, I thought of you instantly when you and me came on second. You
Yeah.
could feel it kind of deflate a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Um, I think though, if we're talking about that, I think the biggest thing about tonight and even other shows, every major venue they'll play, like if they're playing Seven during the Big Whiskey era, or they're playing Do You Remember, as they did tonight, but they did it a lot. 6 plays at Deer Creek already. But like that song was pushed a lot at certain venues. So it's like they other like 15 years ago, some of these major 2 night stands, you would have the hit song, but then there would be a deep cut. Then there would be a song everyone likes, like So Right. Then there would be another hit song. Like it seems like there's longer stretches of like Proudest Monkey in the Satellite tonight, and then having Madman's Eyes after it. And it's like Madman's is not the hit song that Crash Into Me is. So I think what's interesting about some of the sets, SPAC was the same thing last year. They do 2-step. Jackson was there, 2-step, and then they play Stay right after. But then it kind of goes down like a quieter path on a Saturday night. I think that's what really is. I'm scratching my head because it's they're even if you like the hits, they kind of slow it down. And maybe it's just to get rest. Maybe they're just trying to do different things, but there's like more gaps of less momentum build.
Yeah, it seemed like they were just, the early starts of these shows. They're just ready to blow the roof off the place. And yeah, they take those things, but those little mid-show moments where it's like a mellowing out or something. Like you're talking about. They need a break because it can't just be bang bang bang. From
Yeah.
start to finish all the time for these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Jackson, if you could just sum up your thoughts about this weekend, if you would come back to Deer Creek, give us your thoughts, first time coming out here to arguably the biggest shows of the Midwest for this tour with no Alpine, no Chicago.
Yeah, I think it was. Well, I think just based off last night, like Halloween and JTR just made the trip all worth it for me because that was 2 songs I wanted to hear. So everything else is just like bonus.
Yeah.
But I mean, that it was I had a great time both nights, and even though the set list wasn't as good last night, I still had a good time, and I met some good people. And this is like this is kind of like SPAC, where it's just like you can tell that the crowd is different, like than other venues that I've been to, which is like a good thing to be a part of, and makes you feel like part of something. And he even mentioned it to himself. He said something like this crowd has a personality or something like that today. He mentioned something about the crowd. So I think even the band knows that this is like a different place and that people will like come from a long way just to hear them there. So hopefully it'll be another good show in Saratoga Springs, but we'll see.
Yep, and it's definitely the crossroads of America, and it's the crossroads of the Midwestern fan base. People come up from Wisconsin and Chicago. People come from Kentucky, Tennessee, and even the Ohio's and Western Pennsylvania fans find their way on I-70 to get to Deer Creek. Brady, anything to sum up? This is you've been here for 4 years in a row as far as this weekend at Deer Creek.
Well, I walk away satisfied for sure. I'll say that my big chase song is Dreaming Tree. It is the only song from Before These Crowded Streets I've not gotten. I was at the Orange Beach show or last month when it was cut and was just devastated, and was of course just hoping and hoping to get it this weekend. Now, of course, you don't grab it, can't walk away with everything. I totally understand that. But yeah, I walk away satisfied. JTR, Halloween, Last Stop. I'm always after those, and I've heard songs like that multiple times now, but haven't heard a song like Funny the Way It Is in 15 shows. So that is pretty unique, I think.
Yeah, it's literally funny how that turns out. Even like for me, it took me 7 shows to get 41. So there's always songs that will hit. Like some people, oh, I got Funny the Way It Is the last 3 shows, but then you get to a stretch where Big Whiskey's starting to disappear in certain sets. It was heavy last night, but yeah, that's what makes this thing fun. Is that different regions, different you miss your hometown show because of a wedding or a funeral, and then all of a sudden they play a song, or you happen to travel by chance to a different venue and they play this deep cut you never thought you would see, like Good Time Tonight. And so the chase is always fun, and hopefully you get that Dreaming Tree. Jackson was at that show too, where Dreaming Tree was on that set and they decided for some reason to cut it. But thank you guys, Brady and Jackson, for coming on. Thank you for sharing your experience, and most importantly, giving us the perspective from the show. For many of us, the majority of people watching the stream didn't go. So it gives us kind of a perspective of what it was like there. You guys take care. Safe travels back to wherever you're heading.
All right. Thanks, Marcus. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So that is Brady and Jackson. We appreciate them coming on to the show. Let me show you guys the guitar. I want to show you guys this guitar change, because just so that maybe if you're a newer fan, you've never seen this or didn't know this. But let's see. We'll get to... All right. So right here is the guitar Dave played The Last Stop on. This is typically used for Gray Street and JTR and Kit Kat Jam. It's typically tuned in standard tuning. The Last Stop is a song that Dave's guitar tech turns every guitar string a half step down on the scale to play The Last Stop. And so the last 2 performances of The Last Stop have been on this guitar right here. If we zoom in, you guys can see it, right? But before this year, from the 20 teens, mid 20 teens to present, this is the guitar that Dave would play The Last Stop on. If you saw this guitar, it was a lock that The Last Stop was happening, because it's the only 12-string half step down song that Dave plays. And so that's kind of a little bit of a change for this year. Also makes it fun, though. You don't know. Is it going to be Gray Street? Is it going to be JTR? Is it going to be The Last Stop? Because Dave can swap these guitars. Now, I believe he has 2 of the 12-string Sunburst right here. Same thing with the standard tuning. There's doubles of a lot of the acoustic guitars he has. And so it's hard to tell. They could take a backup and tune it a half step down. They could take the regular one and tune it a half step down there. And the reason that typically what Dave will do is, the reason he has a separate guitar like this tuned a half step down is so that the strings can be calibrated for they can be calibrated for the specific tuning. Like his Raise B guitar, there's special gauged strings for that. And so when you have a lot of money, when you're successful, you can have all these expensive boutique guitars that Dave has and have them in different tunings. All the strings are calibrated for those tunings. Back in the day, Dave would have a Chet Atkins or a Ovation, and like he would only have one in the early 90s. He'd typically use the same guitar the whole night. And if he needed to tune something, he could tune something to drop D in the late 90s if he needed to, versus having all these arsenal of guitars to switch out. And then you really get to the turn of the century where he starts messing with the 12-string. 01, he gets to the baritone, and then a little after that, he gets to raised B tuning that he kind of almost creates himself and has all these guitars. But if you know the guitars, you can have a better idea. For instance, if Tim Reynolds has the Flying V guitar and Dave has his drop D guitar, it's either going to be Shake Me Like a Monkey or Don't Drink the Water most times, right? Those are kind of the most likely hits that you're going to get. And so just a cool nuance there. Let me just pull up a set from 2012. This is night 2 2012, and this is what I want to show you about how it's like back and forth and there's more energy. So for instance, this show starts off with the 7. That's kind of a higher energy song, a little bit of a jam, goes right into Why I Am. So the energy is still up. Then you get a deep cut, You Never Know. Then you get a Seek Up long jam, 19-minute and 1 second Seek Up. Then you get the song that Jane likes that's kind of a fun, short sing-along. Then you get Pig. So it's like within the first 6, you get Seek Up, You Never Know, Pig. Those are some heavy hitters. And you have some big whiskey stuff that's more for people who like those shorter songs and kind of danceable stuff. After that, you get Spaceman. And then, but after Spaceman, which is a little bit slower, Cornbread is going to bring the energy up in Deer Creek. Then you get a Nancy's in the Warehouse. You slow it down with Stay or Leave. Then you get a Fool to Think tour debut, which unfortunately Lauren did not get tonight. Then you get People Dancing with Jimmy Thing. Then you get Shake Me Like a Monkey. And before the 2-step, Dave slows it down and quiets it down with If Only. The encore is Halloween into Tripping Billies. So this is a show where you have a lot of heavy hitters. You have some danceable stuff with Jimmy Thing and 7. And then you have You Never Know as a deep cut. You have a long form jam and Seek Up, right? Compare that to tonight. And one of the things about tonight was you didn't really have a long form jam, right? You had Crush. That's pretty much it. 2-step Crush, 2-step, and You Might Die Trying are the main ones. The rest of this stuff in the main set. And then you have The Last Stop, right? But you didn't have a Seek Up thrown in here. You didn't have... Now, Proudest Monkey also does go for a bit, but you didn't have a typical situation tonight. So it is interesting to see how the cookie crumbles for tonight. But I think ultimately, a lot of fans like Jackson who are looking for certain things, or they may have been newer, or maybe they didn't go to as many shows that like every year they were going to less shows. Now they're going to more. They're gonna hold on to this 2-step, to this Last Stop, to this Good Time and Shotgun and the night before, JTR, Halloween. These are rarities that are hard to find. And so people had fun there. I do think that for some fans, when they see a set like tonight, when they see a set like last night, they're like, wait, I thought this was Deer Creek. I thought they were going to look like a set like this that has that Halloween Billy's boom, that has a You Never Know, which wasn't played this weekend. You Never Know, a Pig, a Nancy in the Warehouse. Then you have a Fool to Think as like a deep cut. Like maybe they're like, hey, you pick some stuff from previous years and it's not the same. Those type of fans, maybe you need to just slow down your touring, because maybe you just need to chill in the lawn and not invest in pit or closed seats, because things are stylistically are changing. But the trade-off is, if you're going to a bunch of shows this year, you literally are having different every night you're having a different opener, and most likely you're having a different set closer. Like you almost can bank on having a unique set closer. There's only been a couple that have been repeated more than once that have closed out a set. So that's where we're at. There's the poster. Jim Mazza's poster sold out. I posted on Instagram. Jess, see, where is it? Yep. So here's the merch after the show that Mazza is gone. The weekend poster is right here. That's the tour poster right there. And so it cleaned house. It cleaned house. Now let's look at that poster. We'll take a look at the poster here. All right. So this is a Jim Mazza poster. This is his wheelhouse of what he creates for DMB. And you got a little person on an elephant that's underwater. And you have this whole world underneath the water. And so yeah, this thing sold well tonight, and it's great. It's always great to see posters like this that sell out and have this demand. You know, these artists put a lot of time into what they're working on, and so glad to see that the poster did indeed, at least at this merch stand, sell out. I thought it was cool. I always say this: Mazza he has a style that a lot of fans love. It's not personally my favorite style, but I respect what he does. I actually have liked some of the ones the last couple of years by him even more than his like most the other ones, the earlier posters. And this one, I like the colors on this one. I will say that I'm looking for more like I like landmarks, like a building, a bridge. That's what I look for, a stadium. That's kind of what I'm going for with certain posters. But still, that's what's great about this poster community. There's different styles for everyone, and different styles that are exact opposites can both sell out. They both get high demand. And so kudos to Jim Mazza for putting out a great Saturday night Deer Creek poster. Oh yeah, let me get to this. I did this in the original stream. Maybe it was lost in translation when things shut down. I wanted to talk about the fact that, well, let's get this off first. So I wanted to talk today about people worried about these set times. Like people like, oh no, the band is leaving early. Are they getting older? What's happening? And maybe it is age. We have no idea unless you're backstage with them. But I'll say this. If you know the history of Dave Matthews Band, you know since 2000, there's been shows that have been as short as last night in Deer Creek. You look at 2002, 2003, 2004, there are shows where the band did 2 hours of song time, right? Or less, right? I'm talking about song time because there's changes in between. Sometimes they take longer than others depending on the instruments. But sometimes there's been shows in 2023 that were at that 2 hour mark or less. And so I don't think people need to panic just because the band is leaving the stage just after 10 p.m. versus staying on towards 10:30. Because at the end of the day, what they're doing in lieu of playing longer is they are having so much more diversity in the slotting of what they're playing. Every show, 17 shows so far in the summer tour. We're excluding some of these like Disney, and we're excluding the festival that was before the official summer tour per se. 17 shows. Every show has a tour debut. 17 shows. Every show has a unique opener through Deer Creek Night 2. Meaning every night there's a different opener, right? So we look at this. The openers we've had. So right, Granny, what would you say? YM, you never know. 41, so much to say. I did it. Typical situation. Best of What's Around. American Baby, Drunken Soldier, Rapunzel, You and Me, Dancing Nancy's, JTR, Two Step. Every show has a different opener. When you go to older tours, you'll see that there's a lot of repeats on openers, right? If I just go to 2002 summer tour, right? Look at this. One Sweet World opened 2 consecutive shows, right? You have another One Sweet World after that. You have, oh no, this is 2022, right? That Girl Is You opened 2 shows in a row. Back-to-back shows. So if you went on a run of shows through a region, you could get back-to-back shows with the same opener, right? Let's go to, this is 2022. Let's go to 2004. Let's go further back here. And this is using the DMB Almanac. Shout out to my friends at the DMB Almanac. But 2004 summer, look at this. Okay, I just picked a random tour, right? And you have, just taking a look, you have a couple of warehouses. You have Don't Drink the Water opening up 2 different ones. Let's see if we have Best of What's Around opened up a couple. And again, I'm not talking about the song quality. I'm talking about repeat openers over and over, right? Right? Too Much. Like, look at this. Too Much, Next show has One Sweet World. The show after that has Too Much. You have 2 Stone openers. I'll never complain about Stone openers, but still, look at how much overlap of stuff. Let's go to a different tour. Let's go to like 2007 summer, right? 2007 summer. And again, you see Seek Up, right? Seek Up again, One Sweet World. So I say all that to say that the slotting is elite for this tour. Regardless of what you think of the songs that are opening, they're mixing it up. They're putting songs in different slots as well that typically they're not in. So you do have a You and Me opening a show, right? Did it open a show? Oh, no, that was it. Let me see. Oh, maybe I'm looking. Oh yeah, You and Me opened this show. It's only opened the show twice. LA last year and this show. What show was that? That was 6/13. So that was Bristol, Virginia. So they're doing different things. And even if we look at the set closers, you have a couple, you have some Billy's. Billy's is leading, right? But you have a Typical Situation, you have a What You Are and Ants. They're not overlapping a lot of these. Like in previous years, Don't Drink the Water would have closed out 2 or 3 sets by now, possibly. You do have some overlap on the Encore 1. That's always just going to be a thing. But look at that. Look at this run of unique encores. Good Time, Sister, Take All Day, Beach Ball, Peace on Earth, Paper Town, All That I Wanted. Like, that's a good run of no repeats. And Paper Town, the fact that it's been repeated with different violin players is amazing. So that's cool. And even these Encore 2s, there's been a couple ones that have been similar here, like Don't Drink the Water a couple of times. But other than that, it's been pretty unique. Another Stone Encore 2 closer, right? That's dope. We had one last year, SPAC Night 1. And so they're doing a lot with the slotting to make these unique. And my philosophy is this. If they were going to have more songs, I think they would have more of these like throwaway songs like Funny the Way It Is, or you would have more Satellites. Like it would be songs that are easy for them to play that have been played to they've been played to death. I don't think you're going to get 15 extra minutes of deep cuts. I think they're just going to play a safe song that they know really well to pass the time, to extend it out. And I'd rather just the quality of what we're getting versus the quantity, in my opinion. So I have no issue with that. Let's see. What else is there? Yeah, I think that's really all we need to talk about for today. But this is it until 4th of July. This is it till 4th of July. We got nothing else until then. And this show should come on. It'll be on Nugs tomorrow at some point. I would say in the late afternoon, early evening. So that if you want to listen back to the audio. For Volta, stay tuned for Volta because it'll be determined at some point if they can use this, they can replay, have an encore presentation, and how long the encore presentation or on-demand access would be if it's allowed. We don't know right now after the kind of having, being part of the beta tester team for this. I can say sometimes you can get this on-demand replay, sometimes you can't. There's a lot of different factors, and it's not as easy as like other bands that just always stream all the time and you have replays, right? Certain things have to be checked, licensed, all that stuff. So just be patient. Follow Volta on Instagram, on Facebook, on different social media. And if it is there, it'll be on the DMB social media as well, right? Volta shares it, but also Dave Matthews Band's pages will share it as well. If there is an encore presentation, if you can listen to it on demand for 5 days or 10 days, all of those logistics will be determined if it can happen. It may not, it's not a guarantee, but the best we can do if there is an encore presentation, watch it as many times as you want to enjoy it, because also that stuff is looked at by management and DMB. Like if people are going back to the encore presentations on demand at high volumes, well, hey, that's something that's going to get their eye. That's going to help to increase the odds of more live streams for DMB shows, because that's really what it's about. We have to prove that we're still supporting this stuff, even as they're working out different things to handle volume of fans who want to listen and see this stuff, both free and paid. There we go. Oh, we'll end on the last stop from Alpine a couple of years ago. I talked about the crowds. I think you go to Deer Creek because you want to meet new fans. You go to Deer Creek to meet friends from online. You go to Deer Creek to enjoy different things with people that you know or don't know or are going to know by the end of the night. And that's the beautiful thing about this band. And America will turn 250 years old between now and the next stream. And what I've loved about this, my perception of Dave Matthews Band fans was based purely on the frat boy environments of the late 90s in the Hartford, Connecticut area. We were known, even before the riots, there were a lot of crazy shows for DMB tailgating wise before those riots hit. I have since been proven wrong that the fan base now is nothing like those tailgates that my mom drove by with me when she used to get her hair done. Nothing like it. People still have fun, but they're respectful. There's people I've known for life, even during this weekend. They're, seeing so many people from online, people I've seen at different shows all come together. Like the Shot family there with Robin, who's in Long Island. She's in Long Island, so I see her locally, but I see Wayne and Jessica and their kids when I go to the Midwest, and they were all there. Pat, who I see in the Northeast a lot of times, he flew out to the Midwest and got to hang with them too. And so it's beautiful to see people come together in a world that sometimes online can seem divided. As we look forward to America's 250th anniversary, I think that we as people, when we get together and share common interests, we can find a lot of mutual agreement on what we love and what we like. I think the downfall of our country is we have beholden politicians to be like gods. We worship them like they are a god. We worship them like it's a religion. And I think that this world would be better if we stopped worshiping in absolutes of you have to agree with everything, and we try to support each other, help each other when they're down, have empathy for each other when we make mistakes. People make a mistake and see, that's why you guys are this. That's why you're this. If we can help our brother and sister by being kind, if we can help people when they're down and not just be along a picket line of left versus right or this red versus blue, and support and love each other as we see at DMB shows. But in most importantly, again, have empathy for people who may make mistakes, who may think differently. Their brain is programmed differently than us. We can have another 250 years of progress if we just put aside these hard line thoughts, feelings, and opinions, including what you want from a DMB set. So happy 4th of July in advance, and continue just to be kind to one another. That's the best thing you can do in this life, is to have empathy and be kind to others, regardless of what other people think, regardless of the stuff you see on the internet, which usually isn't real, or it's skewed, or it's manipulating us to be fighting against each other. But what I see at DMB tailgates, what I've seen from people I've broken bread with from across the country before, during, and after shows, is what I believe is the best part of America, is us being drawn together and connected through music and sports and other things. Running, cycling, road tripping, going on cruises. Just kidding. I don't like cruises because you get sick. But nonetheless, let us all try to just be better people and stop worshiping the people who try to control this country. It's your boy Conserviz 34. Peace.
Everybody should go around. Go around. Thank you all very, very much. That was very generous of you all. Thank you so much. What room you got? Thank you very, very much. Safe home, everybody. Have a good weekend. See ya.